Hi, everybody. This is Francesco Rulli. I'm the CEO of CHRO. I'm also the Forbes Insights AI Solutions business partner. I'm here today with David Emanuel, who is a HR senior executive, dear friend and inspiration. David, if you can share with us a little bit more about your work.
Hey, Francesco. Great to be with you today. Love hanging out with you and just chatting. Lately, I have been helping companies really work through, let's call it the 2020 issues, the pandemic, and how we're working virtually and what that continues to look like and manifest, but also working around diversity and inclusion issues and really beyond race. They've really been taking on, how are we going to look in 2025 and 2030 and try to get people to really think about, again, what are their values and how do we live better to our values? And it's been going well. I've enjoyed the experience thus far.
Fantastic. So today I would like to talk with you about the role of cognitive officers and also what a cognitive officer is, okay? So in the last few months, as you mentioned, we have been under pressure because of the madness caused by COVID-19, also the change of lifestyle. We have been talking to a lot of different companies about the use of artificial intelligence. So we spoke together a couple of months ago specific to the HR space. But now we're start realizing that there is the need of a new role, or at least the will of a company to augment their team of executives with someone that I call the cognitive officer. So basically someone who understands the tools provided by cognitive partners like IBM Watson, Microsoft Lewis, Rasa, or certain customized solutions that we might build together with those organizations, and how those implementing within the organization infrastructure from HR to marketing, supply chain, sales, and so on. Providing this type of platform. So when we talk about cognitive officer, is also more of a strategic perspective than just tactical perspective. So it's not really about taking someone from an IT department and implementing the solution, but also decide what is the best combination of services with outcome and where the data can go. So what are your thoughts from an HR perspective about introducing some of this cognitive culture within an organization?
Well, I think it's cutting edge. I think because we are so virtual and there has been so much change, I think of cognitive as how is the organization feeling? And there are going to be a lot of executives that are going to struggle with the concept of, oh my God, we're talking about our feelings. But I think when we look at where we are, we're going to have to challenge the old way, and we're going to have to become more adept at sensing the mood of what our culture is able to withstand. So I think the concept is a fun one to kind of flesh out, because I think as a working world, so much has changed and so much is going to be different even when we come back closer to the old world. So I like the concept, but I think it's something we want to continue to discourse in.
Indeed, indeed. Now you mentioned about measuring feelings and happiness. That's been one of the major implementation we have done in the last few months, is actually build digital assistants that are specific to the employee. So David, Francesco, Mary, John get different digital assistants that are able to provide the information each of the employees needs, but also to listen to their fears, listen to their needs also from a family perspective. So to provide this assistance that goes 24/7, 365 days a year, accessing solutions like, for example, IBM Watson, we are integrated with their sentiment and emotion, so that a phrase becomes also leading to what are their feelings about the upcoming months from a personal perspective and also from a business perspective, and building customized business intelligence around that. For one of our best clients, a multinational company in the transportation business, we were able to predict the growth of their sales and happiness of their customers 1 to 2 months ahead of the change of market. They were not sure if we were going to take a positive turn, and instead implementing those sentiments and those emotions tools within the chatbot to communicate with the people on the ground, they were able to monitor that improvement. Another client of us in the pharmaceutical business developed a chatbot to communicate with salespeople after they finish a meeting, to report not just how well the meeting went, but also what was the level of happiness or non-happiness of the clients on the other side. So that was very meaningful. Now, in the HR space, correct me if I'm wrong, privacy and respect of people's, basically, personal information is very, very important. So could we say that this level of technology has also provided maximum type of privacy available on the market?
Well, I think it has. I think when you look at, if I'm introducing myself to the system, that was my choice of free will. You've given me access to a tool that actually partitions out the employee, and that's the receiving employee. So you actually bypass HR or bypass my boss to get to the help that I might need or the conversation that I might need. So the direction, the counsel are all beyond, my firewall, which I think has been very, very good around giving people access to tools that they can use in the way and the manner and the time that they find necessary.
Very interesting. So let me share with you. Actually, this last Saturday, I was sailing with my children. And on the first race, I asked my kids, put some music, 1980s pop, and we did very well. And then the battery was over, and we didn't have any music, and so we did very bad. So one of the things about humans is the brain, who has a capability not just to make choices, but also can be influenced in a positive or negative way, okay? So the role of a cognitive officer is also to understand the different organs of the company and align those to the tools that provide the best performance for each one of those organs. So just like in a sport, your body performance can be from a broken toe to like any problem can actually throw off your performance. So it goes into a company where you expect marketing, sales, supply chain, HR, all those departments have to work in synchrony and provide the best performance. If one of those departments don't perform, it doesn't matter how well organized your HR department is. If sales is not selling, the company might suffer and go out of business anyway, or vice versa. Right. Sales might be great. If HR is not doing a good job, the employees might just quit their job and move on to another organization, or just affect the performance in the production, in supply chain. So the role of the cognitive officer is to provide the best access to the best tools to monitor and improve performance and happiness within the organization. Okay, so that's the core of this attempt. So at the present time, we have seen that, for example, companies that they have silos buckets of information, of data, and they don't cross-reference those informations. That's another role of the cognitive officer, is to provide this cross-referencing of information to provide the best feedback back to the C-suite. Now, the C-suite is composed by CEO, CFO, CHRO, COO, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And below them, there is all the range of senior executives that in their own, they have need of their own business intelligence. So each one of those executives will have to come up with a list of KPIs, of information, of data for their own business intelligence. So this information is provided by the artificial intelligence in real time while the feedback is coming in, so that once they meet within the C-suite or the senior executives to make decisions, The time is not spent about illustrating the status of the market only or the status of the employees, but it's about discovering solutions. Because if you got a 2 hours meeting, what am I going to spend an hour and a half giving you feedback about the reports, when actually those reports could be delivered to you, tailored to your needs in real time. You can access them 24/7. The AI is there not just to talk to the employees, but also to provide you feedback. On the other side, instead I'm spending now only half an hour to discuss solutions. Well, actually we want to turn things around and say, no, the executives, they have to be informed 24/7 through the AI, the conversational AI. So the same chatbot collecting feedback is providing you this value back in information with your business intelligence, and you can spend more time discussing solutions. So this is where we are at today. So
I think it's interesting when you think it's almost, to me, cognitive officer equals culture champion.
exactly.
And culture champion is something that when you think about across your organization, to me, there are people that can promote culture. There are people that kind of step in the way of culture. And so to me, the cognitive officer would be the person that makes sure that you're facilitating both of them, hearing them and challenging them to on the one side, open up, on the other side, to be more inclusive of what leadership needs. Information flow in terms of how you run an organization from a culture standpoint is something we have not mastered. And when you look at the way you described what happened with your boys this weekend, when you had that, that motivation, and it could be as simple as music, you did better. And it's that trick of finding what that is. So again, I think that being able to recognize that and bring it to the forefront, it's powerful.
Indeed. So, so David, thank you very much for your contribution. I will be publishing this video later this week on LinkedIn, and let's continue our conversations.
Always, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
And one more thing, if people want to learn more about your work, what's the best way to reach out to you?
I've got a website at developempowerment.co. And my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is pretty up to date. I'm actually going to go out there and finish some stuff today.
Very good. Thank you again.
Thank you now, Francesco.